Hello and welcome to the Bonehead Championship. I'm Ben from the Bonehead Podcast, and today we've got your Round 2 Match 3 preview. So the game we have for you this weekend is between our Nobility team, the Marienburg Minotaurs, and our Necromantic team, the Midheim Crawlers. So what we're going to do for now is we are going to go through the teams, we're going to go through the coaches, and then most importantly, we're going to look at our Viewer Championship. Every week we release this video here so you can guess the score and win some points, and at the end of the season, points are going to win prizes. So let's move on and have a look at the teams this week. First up is our Nobility team, the Marienburg Minotaurs. So this team is still sitting square at TV 1000, so a bang on $1 million here, 40k in the treasury, 2 rerolls, 1 dedicated fans, nothing major to write home. But this team does have quite a combat contingent. When you look at the Nobility roster, it is a tough one to crack. We've got Boney the Ogre, so strength 5, mighty blow. Against the Necromantic roster, there's a couple of strength 4 stand firm golems, there's a couple of blocking dudes as well, but the Ogre should be able to outweigh and outpunch everybody else, and that mighty blow could be the difference between a couple of players on the pitch and a couple of players not on the pitch, and that's going to help the Minotaurs out here massively. Only 11 players on this roster, so if the Ogre can remove 1 or 2, it really starts to snowball. 2 blitzers here, Jules Rimet and Royce the Pomp. Royce the Pomp's in at 5 SPP, so both Boney and Royce really close to getting their first level up. When it comes to Nobility blitzers, dodge is a pretty sweet skill, and when it comes to a standard skill for a big guy, the way this roster is kind of pounding, I think Brawler is a good pickup, so maybe we can get Boney there. We've got 2 bodyguards, Podrick Payne and Angus von Muller, sitting at no SPP at the moment, so a bit of a long stretch for them. However, that Wrestle Stand Firm is going to be really useful. So Stand Firm is going to basically just shut down the Frenzy angle from the Werewolf, and Wrestle is going to mean they're a great counterpunch to Ghoul. So we've got 2 blitzers sitting here at movement 7 with block, and 2 bodyguards at movement 6 with Wrestle. That means we've got a pretty decent reserve team there to one-on-one any Ghoul that breaks through with a score. So that's going to be pretty powerful for that. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 linemen. Maximilian Fancy sitting at 2 SPP, so could see a lineman level up here. And then we've got the most amazing element of this roster, some of the most average throwers in the game. We've got Ivan Volokov and Fitzmagic sitting at a grand total of 0 SPP between them. We need to get those guys cooking because we need to get them to start brewing up some good skill. I'm thinking leader on one of them to get that 3rd reroll for the team, accurate on the other one, because just to prove that these guys can pass as well as anybody. And we have here the Necromantic team, the Midheim Crawlers, so sitting at TV 1015, so 15k above starting million, 45k in the treasury here. Again, kind of saving up either for that second werewolf or that other reroll, so got a bit of a way to go here. We've got 2 flesh golems on this roster. We've got Hackensack and Frackenweenie. So one thing that did happen, I'm not entirely sure how, but due to a clerical error, we're going to blame goblins in the works here. We said that Marrowguts got the level up. It was actually Frankenweenie. Frankenweenie got the level up and got block, so is sitting at a pretty tasty position here. So 2 strength 4 stand firm pieces, and one of them does have block. We're up against Nobility. There's a couple of blocking dudes, there's a couple of wrestle dudes. Having that combat skill on top of strength 4, going to be pretty sweet. Happy about that. We got 1 werewolf, not a fury, no level ups, no SPPs. We need to get him to start cooking. We need to get block on that werewolf as quickly as we can. Now, talking of block, we do have 2 wraiths. We've got Larry the Laundry and Count Thread, or Count Thredular as I accidentally call him. Count Thredular is sitting at 2 SPP. Those guys are actually already good to go. I'd like to level them up and get guard on them so they can start creating more profitable blocks from everybody else. That sidestep's going to be pretty sweet as well. Maybe a bit of tackle given the way this league is developing. But for now, just straight up sidestep foul appearance block. And I'm good with that as well. We've got Marrowguts and Rotten Fingers as our 2 ghouls. That gives us the werewolf and 2 ghouls as our scoring threats. You might want more, but 3 is plenty. Now, these both guys movement 7 with dodge. The werewolf there movement 8 straight up. So actually, we've got plenty of mobility in this team, and I can't see all 3 going down. Then we got 4 linemen, including Phil the Rock, who's sitting there at 2 SPP. So when it comes to this team, it is only 15k boosted, and the reason it's only 15k boosted is because you've got 1 skill, which is that block. We're not missing anybody, and we can see that we've got a lineman developing, we've got a wraith and a ghoul runner developing. If we can get that werewolf developing as well, as this roster starts to form together, it's going to get more and more potent. Now, as it is, we've got 3 block, 2 dodge, and 2 strength 4 against 1 strength 5 with Mighty Blow and a couple of block and a couple of wrestle. Combat power wise, it's real close. So we've looked at the teams, and you guys have asked us to focus on the coaches, and I believe you know Ian Warhammer. He's been on the show quite a lot in our past series. He's been on the podcast plenty as well, and I think he was on just a couple of rounds ago too. So Ian, we played on the season already. We have played on the season already, and it was an opening match. That was it, Snotlings versus Black Orcs, and it was a really close one. So I've been playing Blood Bowl with Ian for 20 years, and it is always a really good match. Ian is a very masterful gamer. He definitely knows what he's doing. He's a league winner. Generally speaking, has a lot of terrible luck on the show, and has terrible luck on coverage. He actually got to play on, not quite on Warhammer TV, but was on Warhammer TV on the coverage of one of the Age of Sigmar events, and just rolled ones for days. Now everyone here thinks the dice are cursed, and maybe they are. So this week, it'll be me playing Necromantic, and Ian playing the Nobility. So we've looked at the teams, we've looked at the coaches. Let's talk through the matchup here. I actually think these teams are pretty close. They're both tier 2 teams. They are both not quite there with what you want from the roster. The Nobility team, you really kind of want another reroll, and you do want to start fleshing out those bodyguards. The Necro team, you really want another werewolf, and you could use another reroll. But actually that just means they're pretty closely matched. 2 rerolls apiece means that both these teams are not going to be cooking as much as they want to. They've also got Ag 4 plus linemen, so there's not a lot of reserve in the way of agility. Now the Nobility team's got 2 blitzers, 2 throwers, 2 bodyguards. The Crawlers team has got 2 ghouls with dodge and that werewolf, so there's plenty of scoring threats there to have. But generally speaking, the core of each of these teams is quite slow. They're both kind of defensive teams. I like the Crawlers, I like them, they're mid-range. The Nobility is definitely more of a defensive roster, and I love it. Now we're going to see Boney the Ogre here potentially bring that mighty blow, and it's going to hurt some of the Necro teams. Flesh Golems are fantastic, especially Frankenweenie. Now he's got block, but that's not strength 5. Whether you're strength 4 or strength 3, if you're up against strength 5, you are strength 3. So essentially that ogre's going to be able to take away one of the advantages of the golems. On the plus side, the golems are going to need less assist if they want to go toe to toe with Boney. Probably not going to be the best plan. Now the other thing to mention here is the way Frenzy interacts with basically most of the ability roster. Whether it's Stand Firm or Fend, Frenzy's going to get shut down a treat. So the werewolf, I think, is going to find himself potentially light on targets, going to be having to kind of choose to attack the blitzers who've got block, which may not be the most sensible idea, or to go after the throwers. Now, werewolf versus thrower, I like the way the werewolf comes out there, and you are taking out one of the Ag 3 plus players for Nobility, so that is potentially a good target. Both the Wraiths are going to be great, I think, in this game, and when it comes to the Nobilities, I absolutely love those catches, and if we can get some kind of throwing game working with them, they make incredible tight ends. They can block, they can catch, and they can dash, and I really love it. So I think as far as all the teams in this league go, this is potentially one of the closest ones, and I think because both these teams take a couple of games to get started, and we're starting to see it now, that's why they're both sitting here at the bottom of the league currently. By the end of this episode, though, one of them is going to be, I think, a lot better off spot. So I'm a big fan of this matchup. Anyway, let's move on to the good stuff here. We've got the Viewer Championship. So every week we put up a match preview show. Welcome to the match preview show, where we look at the rosters and the coaches, and we kind of give you the background of the game. And then I get to see literally 200-300 of you make a score guess, which is awesome. So you get to guess the score. Pick a winner. Pick a score for each team. Each one of those you get right, you'll get a point. So maximum of 3 points per round. So if you say that the Necromantic team are going to win, and they win, you get a point. If you say the Necro team are going to score 2 touchdowns and they score 2 touchdowns, you'll get another point. If you say that the Necromantic team are going to win, but the Nobility team is going to score 0 touchdowns, and they score 0 touchdowns, you get a point. Doesn't matter. They are all individual points, so you can get 0, 1, 2 or 3 points there to do it. We want the predictions in by 9 AM UK Saturday. That is because the games go out Saturday morning for our Patreons and Sunday for everybody else, so we don't want to give the Patreons too much of an edge, so we want to get those guesses in before we go live on our Patreon feed. Now, I am loving the Viewer Championship. It is awesome, and I really appreciate everybody who's, 1, guessing, 2, giving good summaries of the games. We've had some great shouts here. We've had some great picks as well. But I am really loving the volumes, and somebody has offered to help me out with the stats, and I think I'm going to be dropping them an email back later saying yes please, because I was expecting some uptake. I wasn't expecting literally 300 of you, so this is awesome. And I think what we'll do is we'll go to the top section, talk through who's doing really well, and then at the end of the video, like before, we'll have the whole list. So if you've got your guesses in, you'll see your name at some point. So let's have a look at the people in first place at the moment. We've got Sam O'Dwyer sitting there at 11 points, scoring 2 points for 2 rounds, 1 point for 1 round, and 3 points in both of the first rounds. Now, 11 points is only 4 correct answers, and we are at game... We've had 5 games, and there's 15 in total in the regular season, so there's still 30 points up for grabs, basically, is what I'm saying. Now, in joint second place at 9 points, we've got Papa Z, Gecko 8, and Nicholas Fitzgerald. In third place at 8 points, we've got Zephyr, baby. Hey, Zeph. Dish Dash, Waller, Chris John, Ernest Cummings, David Rolstad, and Braze77 there. Now, we are going to go and have a cheeky look at our fourth place competitors as well. There is a ton sitting really, really close. And at 7 points, we've got David Warner, Blood Bowl Commissioner. We've got Adam Hines, Nick Rossell, John Naylor, Austin Faulkner, Pat Paint, Solid Bayou, Carl Messenger, Mike Cotterill, Martin, James Micklewright, Dan Pritchard, Adriana Hackett, Stuart Shelley, Stefan P, Justin Orns, Shadow Wall 1, Logan Lay, Robert Brook, Mr. Rip Giblet, Matilda Slunk Skin, Matt Livingstone, Orkstar getting up there as well. A very regular contributor to Whip Wednesday, which is cool to see. And Paul Thompson, Jesper Axelson, Black Flag, Trevor Craig, Werfelsturm, Marco Niosi, and Joaquin Solis. So that's at 7 points, and we've got 30 points up for grabs. So that's the top take. For everybody else, check the end of the video. We'll have a Star Wars scroll with everybody's score. Okay, so we've looked at the rosters, we've looked at the coaches, and we've talked through the matchup. Nobility, Necromantic are 2 tier 2 teams that are on the top end. They are pretty flexible, they are pretty strong, they are like the quintessential mid-range teams in Blood Bowl. They can do it all. They can dash, they can bash. This is going to be a really great clash, and I'm a huge fan of this. So I think all that's left is for us to look forward to the game on the weekend. And I just want to say a big thank you to everyone out there who is getting involved and supporting the show. I'm having an outrageous amount of fun, and it sounds like you guys are too. Don't hesitate to mention if I've got your score ever so slightly wrong. Hopefully we can get that working a little bit better. And awesome. Thank you very much for being involved. I hope you enjoy the game at the end of the week. In the meantime, I'm sure we'll be back with more Blood Bowl content very, very soon. Happy blocking, everybody. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content, we get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead Podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.